Thanks for joining in. I'm going to be taking us today through a 60-minute Vin Yin. It's a mixture, a little bit of movement, vinyasa flow, and also a little bit of yin holding poses. So make sure that you have plenty of blankets, pillows, any blocks if you have them, or any other sort of props. The more you have, the better. And it's really nice to be bundled up and warm for this practice. I keep my socks on because we won't be doing too much involvement needing feet to the ground. So stay warm and set up your space. Be comfortable with it. Practicing at home can be wonderful. We don't have to go anywhere, but it also can be a big challenge. So we're going to do our best to just clear the space around the mat physically, or at least emotionally, mentally, and step to our mats together. I just also want to say quickly that I'm offering free classes during this lockdown. This has been such a treat for me to be able to do this and to practice with those who are not in the same city, country, hemisphere, time zone. So I have really enjoyed this. Absolutely. What I do miss most about teaching yoga is that connection. I do it because I love to, and I love to connect with people and to mostly hear how you felt about the class. So if you are taking it, if you enjoy it, please connect with me. I'd love to hear from you. There's Koha donation information on my page if you want to. If not, don't even worry about it. Just enjoy, share the love. Let's get started. I'll get our music going. Okay, so today we will start seated using a prop, some kind of prop, either a block, a blanket, to elevate the hips above the knees. We do this to help us find a straight spine, creating space for us to breathe throughout the lungs, the ribs. When you have settled into a comfortable seated position that you can hold for a couple of minutes, we will just bring our hands to our knees, palms face down. This is a grounding motion. We'll just go ahead and close the eyes down. Use this retraction of our visual sense to immediately ground down even further, connect inside. We remove the vision of everything around us, and that helps us to tap in, bringing our awareness inside of our body, which we often forget about. We're so distracted all day long, multitasking, never-ending to-do list. So this is our time to reconnect with our body. It's a beautiful way to restart the week. Push that big reset button. Bringing your awareness to your breath, working on extending the length of your inhale, and trying to match the length of your exhale. In our practice, we'll go ahead and take 3 open mouth sighs, letting go of anything that we need to. Inhaling through the nose, feeling that cool air enter the body, and then exhale, open mouth, audible sigh. Feeling the warmth of the air leave the body. We'll do this 2 more times. Feeling free to expand, making this sigh as loud as you need right now. In my household right now, in this lockdown, this tends to grow to almost some kind of scream throughout the day. Just letting go. Nice. And then just coming to your center, picturing what that means to you. Is it a state of mind? Is it a place in the body? Is it a place for the body? And then go ahead and actually think of our spinal column as our center space here. And on an inhale, thinking of that spot with your mind, we will bring our body out in front of that center space, puffing out the chest. And on an exhale, we'll begin to circle around that center point. Rounding through the back, the chin can tuck in, and on an inhale, we'll open up the front side of the body, making this circular motion around that center point that we created before we started moving. So sticking with your breath here, we've extended it. Now we're just joining some gentle movement to the breath. As we get to the back, we'll shift directions. Inhale, coming now through that center, through the front. Trying to create this beautiful circle around that center point. And then gently finding your way back to neutral. Just taking a moment to see how the body feels after a little gentle movement. We'll begin to allow the hands to come to the earth, removing any props behind us. Meeting in our tabletop position, hands right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we'll visit our cat-cow here. So on an inhale, we spread through the front side of the body, belly drops, hips lift, expanding through the shoulders, gazing out in front. And then exhale, we pull the navel back towards the spine, press away from the earth, round through the back. Inhale, whole length of the breath to make this journey, opening the front side of the body. And then exhale, whole length. Just switch that stretch to the back side of the body. You can shift the hips back if you'd like. This is your journey, your practice. We're all about staying within the place that feels good to you today, in this moment, knowing that that changes from day to day. On the next exhale, we'll begin to untuck the toes and shift all the way back towards our balasana, our child's pose. When the lungs empty, the head can just touch down on the earth, and inhale, rounding back up. Dropping that belly, finding our opening along the front, and exhale, shifting back, balasana. Nice and slow again, enjoying the journey between the postures. It's not always about that destination. Exhale, finding that balasana. On an inhale, our left hand will slide over off of the mat. This right arm will make its way over towards that left, extending along our lateral sideways to our right sideways. Exhale, we'll begin to send that right hand across to the other side. Inhale, left arm sweeps over towards the right. And then exhale across the mat. Finding some grounding before we allow the right hand to join the left. Just one more time. And then exhale, finding our way to our balasana again. And we'll be settling in for a couple of moments. So making sure that you're comfortable. We won't be here too long, but if you want to use some kind of prop, a blanket or a pillow, blankets rolled up are really nice to support underneath the chest. When we go into these yin postures, we think about building from the ground up. So as we enter them, we take note of what is going on in the body. If there's pressure somewhere that is slightly uncomfortable now, we take care of that, knowing that it will only get worse. So we build before we settle in. If you want to add a little padding underneath the ankles, it's always an option, but finding your comfortable space. Head can be off to the side or forehead can be on the earth. And this is a great time to just settle into your breath. The child's pose is, I like to think of our home base of our practice. Taking note always at the beginning of our practice of what's going on in the mind. Are we having a hard time dropping in? Or was it easy for us today? And we take note without judgments. Just gathering information, gathering our data. We'll take 3 more full breaths in our child's pose, our home base, knowing that this pose is always there for us anytime we come to the mat. It still counts as yoga. If we've gathered any props, we'll slowly remove those from underneath us. And then make our way into Sphinx pose. So sliding the hands out, fingers can be nice and wide, elbows are shoulders width apart, extending the legs behind us, and then hips lower to the ground. On an inhale, tip our head back, allowing the gaze to rise up. Exhale, begin to lower the chin down towards the chest. Inhale, begins that rise, gazing where the wall and ceiling meet. You can continue with this up and down, or if you'd like to swing the head out to the side, you can bring the right ear towards the right shoulder on the inhale and exhale down through center. Inhaling up through the other side. Maybe a full circle is what your neck, your head, your body's asking for. You just listen in. I find that closing the eyes is the easiest way to do that. There's a spot that needs a little extra love, maybe stopping and just taking a little pulse there, maybe taking a little shake. Anything that works for you. And then we'll go ahead and exhale, lowering the chest down to the earth. This left arm will extend out, palm face down. You're welcome to play with the angle of it, anything that feels right to you. We'll come into this open wings position. So our right knee will bend, using our fingertips of our right hand as a kickstand. Taking an exhale to roll onto that left side of the body. Here, again, we build from the ground up. So it's really nice to prop underneath the head slightly. And the sole of the right foot can come to the earth. If you need something in front of the body, you can bring a blanket, bolster, a box, anything to hold yourself up. And some other options are to bend this left leg. You could tuck the toes underneath the knee pit of that right leg. This right hand can just find a comfortable place. Maybe it's around a bolster, a pillow in front of you. To make it more intense, you can bring both soles of the feet to the ground. This right arm can begin to extend back. Maybe you find something to hold that up. And when you've found a place that works for you, we'll just settle in with this next exhale. Enjoying this heart opening, this heart blasting. If there are any areas that are uncomfortable in the body, you can just send your breath there. We'll take 3 more breaths. Trying to find complete stillness in these last 3 breaths. On the next exhale, as slowly and fluidly as possibly, we'll come out of this shape. Here, extending the arms overhead into our pranam, our prostration. Allowing the forehead to touch down and just taking 2 full breaths here, taking a little read, a scan. Noticing how one side of the body feels compared to the other, and then begin to set up for our other side. So right arm can extend out, palm face down. Again, playing with the angle of the arm and not worrying about exactly what you did on the other side. We enter each pose as if we've never been here before. Maybe our go-to place of comfort is not what we need today. So we find that opening now along our right pectoral region. Make any adjustments that we need, and then we settle in. Sometimes we may find that place with ease. Just drop right into stillness. Other times we may feel as if we can't find the perfect place, and that's when we just go with exactly where we are. We accept that it's not perfect, and we note that nothing is. We accept where we are and we just stay. We find comfort in that place of imperfection. Take 3 more breaths on this side. You're taking this moment to take a scan of the body, trying to find tension anywhere. And when we do, we just use the breath, take it to that place and release. Releasing even more with each exhale. Gently, slowly, fluidly make our way out, revisiting our pranam, our full prostration. Arms extend overhead. If you need a little more space, you can walk the knees out away from you. Whole body is completely relaxed. I love this moment, this opportunity to feel your breath echo back. Exhaling out of the mouth. Take a little shift of the hips side to side, or maybe we bend in the knees and sway the legs side to side. And then lower the feet down if they're not already. Play with some kind of heart opener back bend. So I'm going to bring my hands out wide for this. Come up onto my fingertips, elbows bent. And we'll begin to bring our awareness to our left shoulder, drawing a circle now. That left shoulder, the gaze will follow, and then we'll switch across the body and begin to circle the right shoulder back. Incorporating this movement, the breath, just again inviting yourself to close down your eyes and listen within, finding motion, movement that your body enjoys. Knowing that it doesn't have to match what I'm doing. And then on our next inhale, come to center, finding a nice big heart blasting open. As we exhale, allow the chest to melt to the earth, hands root down to the ground. Begin to shift up into our tabletop. Here we'll come to neutral for a moment. Picture that exact center space, our spinal column again. And on an inhale, we'll circle the ribs out to the side, rounding through the back, and exhale, completing that circle around that space. Switching directions. And then finding your way back to neutral, releasing the head completely and just letting it shake. Maybe allowing that shake to grow into the rest of the body. And then we'll begin to walk the hands back, lift the knees, and allow the hands to find their way towards the back of the mat into an Uttanasana. On an inhale, hands slide up the shins. We find Ardha Uttanasana, spine parallel to the earth, gaze at the ground. Exhale, bending in the knees, torso falls down onto the quadriceps. Finding a full release at the end of the exhale, head, neck, arms are heavy. Inhale. Rising back up to that half fold, shoulders down, away from the ears. Exhale. Upper body hangs heavy, finding our full release. Uttanasana. One more time. Inhale, rising up, finding length out of the crown of the head, and an opposition tailbone stretches away. Exhale, finding that forward fold. And here, just shaking the head out. And nodding it yes. Yes to anything that you doubt. Yes, you can do it. We can practice. Even in our homes, we can practice together. Inhale to rise up, allowing the upper body to hang heavy at the top. That inhale, shoulders will come up to the ears, and exhale, roll down the back. I'm just going to turn to face you. Next, inhale, arms will reach out and up. The right hand will grab the left wrist. And on an exhale, we begin to lean over towards our right side, stretching out our left sideways. Inhale, we'll pulse back up. Exhale, taking that lateral stretch. Inhale brings us back up to standing, and this time exhale, come all the way across our hands. Draw a big semicircle out to the side, bending into the hips and knees, releasing completely. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, hands slide out the shins. Finding that length through the spine. Exhale, lowering down. Plant the right hand, right knee bends on an inhale. The left arm will reach forward, out, overhead. And drawing a big circle with that arm. Reaches up towards the sky and back behind us. Finding its way to where the right hand is. Replacing it, left knee bends. Inhale, right arm extends overhead. Drawing that big circle with the right arm. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, rising back up. Upper body is heavy. Shoulders pull up towards the ears and exhale down the back. Inhale, arms extend out wide. Now we grab the right wrist with our left hand. Exhale, hands shift over towards the left. Right sideways stretches. Inhale to pulse out of this. Exhale. Lower as much as you would like. These can stay straight or they can bend, your body, your practice. Nice, and then coming all the way down, drawing that semicircle. Full release. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, releasing. Left hand plants, left knee bends. Inhale, right arm reaches overhead, up towards the sky, and down the back. The end of the breath, right hand replaces the left. Inhale, circling that left side now. Full release. At the end of the exhale, inhale brings us back up to standing. And then just allowing the palms to open up to the front, standing comfortably, relaxed, and just closing down the eyes for a moment and taking note, taking those little details in. Picture yourself writing it down on a piece of paper, like a scientist taking our research of ourselves. How do we feel now? And then on exhale, begin to bring the palms back behind us. Interlace the fingers together on an inhale. Palms touch one another. We extend the arms. We open through the chest, spreading the shoulders. Exhale, hinging at the waist, folding forward. Lifting the hips as much as possible and just either finding stillness or any motion that you need. Maybe shaking that head again, nodding it yes, and then we'll go ahead and keeping that clasp, try to switch the hands so that the other thumb is on top. Using your breath here to allow the torso to fold in as much as possible, as much as comfortable, and then we allow gravity to pull the hands down towards the earth. Trying to keep the shoulders open, long neck, space between the ears and the shoulders. Big inhale here, and then exhale, trying to gracefully, slowly release the hands down. Just allowing them to find a place on the earth. Maybe we use blocks or a blanket or something to find a little lift. If they don't touch the ground comfortably, we'll just be here for 3 full breaths in this dangling position. This little gentle half inversion. Trying to find relaxation in the hands. Palms face up is most lunar form for the hands. way back towards the ground. Coming first into our cat-cow for a moment, and then tucking the toes, shifting back into our Adho Mukha Svanasana, our downward facing dog. Here, enjoying any movement that you like, shifting the heels side to side. It's a really great one, getting into the sideways today. And then finding center, shaking the head out, taking a big inhale through the nose, and exhale, open mouth, sigh. And then inhale, lift up the heels, begin to shift our weight forward, rounding through the back. And then on an exhale, we'll bend even further into the knees, opening the chest and pressing the palms into the ground to shift the hips back into our traditional Adho Mukha Svanasana position. We'll continue this little spinal wave motion with our breath. Finding one that feels organic for you. It's our Adho Moksha Svanasana. Adho Moksha Svanasana. And then bringing our feet to our center line. On an inhale, we'll begin to lift that left leg up. So we'll slide, put our weight into our right foot. That left foot slides to the back of the mat, keeping the hips square, toe, knee face the earth. That left leg rises. Exhale, whole length of the breath to lower it down to the ground. Weight bears with the left foot. Inhale, right leg begins to rise. On an exhale, we'll bend the knee, drawing it into the nose. We're taking hip mandalas. So here we keep this downward dog position, but on an inhale, begin to circle out that right leg. Think about drawing a circle with your kneecap. On an exhale, knee draws in. So doing this 2 more times with your breath. This can be as big or as little. This feels good to you. Just scooping out that hip joint. And on this 3rd time, we'll coil the knee all the way in. Begin to press the back toes into the earth. Shift forward. Bring that right leg through into our Anjaneyasana, our lunge position. Here, we'll have our hands out to the sides. If you have blocks or blankets that you want to use, this is a great time to do this. On an inhale, we shift the hips forward. We open through the chest. We find that anterior stretch. And then on an exhale, we shift through Ardha Hanuman. So this front leg stays straight. Hips are stacked above the knee. They stay high. And then we wave the spine down to the earth. Back and forth between these 2 positions with the breath. So inhale, we find that front body opening. And then exhale, switch, shift to the back. Head is the last thing to drop forwards. Inhale, head is the last thing, rise. Here, just take a little shift of the foot side to side. So staying in this Ardha Hanuman, our half split, and making this little windshield wiper motion with this foot. Just finding that neutral space again, and then inhale to shift forward. We'll be settling in for our dragon pose. So here, it's staying in this lunge position in general, but this is your time to find a place that you would like to hold. It's really nice to untuck that back toe. If you have too much pressure on the knee, you can pad underneath. You can come up with build some sort of structure underneath the hips if you would like, or underneath the chest. It's up to you. We won't be here super duper long, but just find something that you can put some weight into in order to make this pose more comfortable. you find that position, just settle in to our stillness, settle back into our breath. Finding our center now in a new position. And some of the most challenging parts are allowing the body to just be without tension, without thought. Our mind, it seems like it's out of control, running all over the place, but this is a great time to practice that control, bringing it back in. Bringing awareness to the breath is always a great practice, a way to show that we can control something, especially when everything feels so out of control in life right now. You can just take a moment, close down the eyes, and lengthen the breath. Bring that control back in. Take 3 more breaths here. And then, slowly as possible, keeping this yin-like bhavana or state, we'll begin to release out of it, clearing any props we may have used, making our way back through tabletop and then downward facing dog. Taking note how one side feels compared to the other. Placing our feet together at the center line. Inhale, right leg extends back and up. Exhale, right leg lowers right back down where it came from. Inhale, left leg, no rush on that rise, enjoying the journey. Exhale, knee draws in, setting up for a hip mandala so the upper body stays as it is. Inhale, that left knee creates that circle. Breath leads the way. Enjoy the idea of scooping out the hip joint. And on this third time, coming in through for our lunge. Setting up for our Bhumi Namaskar. So inhale, find that anterior opening, and then exhale, we shift back for our posterior. Spine waves down towards the legs. Inhale, shifting forward. Bhumi Namaskar means bowing. Bowing towards the earth. I like to picture it as giving our thanks for that constant support. Here we'll stay in this half split Ardha Hanuman and add that little windshield wiper sway, shift the foot. Finding release in the neck. Moment of closing down the eyes. Inhale brings us forward, and we'll set up for this left side. And using what you have, you can can play with the angle of this left foot, untuck that right foot. And just take the next couple of breaths to accept where you are without overthinking it. And dropping in. Breathing in as much as we can into that left hip. Tension in any place, doing the best we can to release. Our hips are our biggest joint socket of our body, and they tend to be this trap, this catch for all of our emotions. Anything that we don't want to deal with, or we may feel like we shouldn't deal with, we can't deal with, we shouldn't have these emotions, and so we stuff them down into this joint, into our hips. Sometimes during practice, there's emotions that we didn't fully process, they rise back up. And it's a wonderful opportunity, a beautiful safe space to allow the processing to happen without judgment, with full acceptance. Taking 3 more breaths here, finding full stillness. As much relaxation as possible wherever you are. And nice and slow. Without any sudden movements, we rise up, control. Meet in tabletop position. And here, coming back to that cat-cow, our old friend. A dear friend of mine referred to this pose as the other day, and I loved it. Old friend, something we revisit time and time again, but this time we'll close down our eyes and just enjoy a more free form cat-cow. So you're welcome to circle the torso out like we did earlier. If you want to shift out and back, it's going through child's pose or creating some kind of figure 8, almost hybrid position. Just close down the eyes, tap in, don't overthink it, and just go with your flow. The idea of this old friend position where always know that it's there for us. There's stability in that friendship. You switch directions if you haven't already. There's trust. For the most part, we know what we're going to get, but it's also this wonderful opportunity to see what's changed, see how we've grown day to day. When you're ready, finding that neutral place, we'll cross our legs behind us and begin to shift into the center of our mat. We're coming into or Setubandha, a bridge position. So gathering any props that you'll need for this. And so we'll just lower down onto the elbows gently. Soles of the feet will be in towards the hips. We'll start with our arms out overhead. And on an inhale, begin to first press that lower back into the earth. This should begin the hips to lift off of the earth. Hips will rise up. At the same time, arms will lower down towards the ground. So hips make their way up between the shoulders and the knees. Hands find their way down towards the feet. And then exhale, hips lower back down, arms rise overhead. Continuing with this motion with your breath. Again, and just enjoying that full path. We're trying to go through these movements with full fluidity. We want our knees and feet to be both hips width apart. This next breath, allow the hips to stay up high. And if you have any props, blocks, anything you want to place underneath, you can even use maybe a Nalgene and put a pillow on top of it, something we place right at our sacrum, in this bony spot, towards our tailbone. And here we'll tuck the shoulders underneath a little bit more. If you don't have a prop, that's okay too. We can stay here. We can interlace the hands and walk the shoulders underneath. And just come to as much relaxation as we can with whatever we have, and we just accept it. Maybe we even more than accept it and enjoy it. Closing down the eyes. And trying to find as much relaxation as you can. Taking our scan, fingers, all 10 fingers fully relaxed. How's the breath flowing? Where do we feel like our center is in this position? Has it shifted? Taking our last 3 breaths. And if we have any props underneath us, or if our hands are interlaced, we just release that. Hips stay up high for a moment. And then inhale, heels lift. And on an exhale, heels stay up, and we just roll the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae, taking this little tuck. The hips, so the lower back touches down last here. Feet stay where they are. They can go out even wider. Knees touch in, dropping into that center line. We'll bring one hand to our heart, one hand to our belly. A couple of breaths here to always take note. How do we feel now? entering that data and then releasing it. Our next inhale, arms will reach overhead, legs will expand away in opposition. If you want to add any lateral stretches, any wrist circles, anything that you need, finding your motion, your places that need a little extra stretch. One more big inhale, and exhale will draw everything into a tight ball. Shoulders come off of the earth, arms wrap around the legs, face even squeezes in. Maybe you can kiss your kneecaps. And then with the next exhale, we'll begin to release out into our Shavasana. Here, taking the time to set up. So we will first bundle up if we haven't already. Make sure that we're nice and warm. Just use this opportunity to put my scarf back on. And make sure you're comfortable with the space around you. So clearing props and then using ones that you like. It's really wonderful to place a blanket on top of you. Support underneath the knees is nice. And not too much support behind the head. We really want that connection with the back of the head to the earth. So if you have a ponytail, we just move it out of the way. Settle in, legs will be out wide, feet relaxed out to the side. And then arms will be out wide, space between them and the torso. You can tuck one shoulder underneath at a time if you are looking for more grounding, some kind of weight on the hips. It's a wonderful practice. A bolster, pillow, maybe a book on top of that. And then shifting the gaze side to side, finding that exact middle space in the back of the head. And with these next 3 breaths, we'll use them as an opportunity to fully melt, settle into our Shavasana, our corpse pose. Just breathing through the nose, maybe taking that open mouth sigh as loud as you need it to be. There's no judgment, no one around you, no one watching you. This is your time to let it go. And this third one, picturing your body just settling in, softening to its full capacity into the earth, melting down, almost being cuddled, cradled by the earth below. And just allowing the breath to flow naturally. Finding a place of deep relaxation. Allowing your practice to settle into your body, settle into your bones. Don't tap out completely. Shavasana. And just allow the body to be and accept everything, and so it is. awareness back to the space, back to the room, to your body and your breath. And beginning to gently reawaken yourself with first small movements to begin. Really wiggling out the fingers and the toes, and allowing those movements to grow in a way that feels good to you, honors the place that your body is in today. Taking a nice big overhead stretch on an inhale, and then shifting your way onto whichever side is calling you without overthinking it, finding a fetal pose on your side, and taking a couple of breaths there, allowing the bottom arm to reach out as a pillow for your head. Couple of moments in this transition pose between corpse and the rest of our day, and then extending that top leg away from you, pressing up, finding yourself in a comfortable seated position, trying to keep the eyes in a half gaze, our Ardha Drishti slightly closed down. We'll just come back to the place that we began. We'll come full circle. Finding that straight spine, and the option to come back to that movement meditation that we began, circling the breath, finding that center place and creating our circle around it, switching directions. And finding stillness again, enjoying the place that you've come to today. Bringing your hands together at heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone.